Hello and welcome to Cities Skylines 2. Oh, that was a long time coming, but I'm very excited to be here with you today and to share all my experience and some thoughts on the game alongside with the game complexity, the difference between the Cities Skylines 2 and Cities Skylines 1 mechanics, and if you can play it the same way or if you have to change how you play it, and also if you can play it without micromanaging, because I see a lot of questions about the new mechanics and how they will impact the game, because it seems like, oh, I have to think a lot more about everything. I can't really design the city how I would like to, and I have to keep micromanaging everything. Is it really true? We'll dive into it and we'll see what we can do. Spoiler alert, I will show you how I do everything without even looking at the menus for the taxes, for the production, and all about that. There are a few things that I have to keep in mind. I'll cover four main aspects. So exporting, mainly energy and water, specialized industry, zoning based on demand, and services of the city. I'll also be able to show you progress until the fourth milestone, Grand Village, and this will be a series of 3 videos where we'll go through all these milestones. But before we go into any more details, I just want to say a big thank you to Colossal Order and Paradox Interactive for providing early access and making this possible to bring you early content so you can see what you can expect and learn some of the game mechanics before you jump into it, because I know it can be overwhelming at first. I would also like to ask you to stay until the end because I have a special message for you. So jump straight in creating a new game. I would choose the Barrier Island. I think this one is one of the best maps that I've tried to start a new city. They're all quite fun. They all have quite a lot of possibilities and different challenges, but I think this one will do for us in terms of demonstrating these new ideas, the first steps of the city, and how you can get things going. It's a North American map based on the southern hemisphere, with a climate from 10 to 29 degrees, so we won't have snow on this one, but that is alright. You have some connections, you have some resources in there. I'll call the city Queensland because the Barrier Island is basically based on the city of Brisbane and the coastal area in Queensland, which is a state in Australia where I live, so I think that all works out, right? Left-hand traffic, obviously, that's the right way. I'll turn natural disasters off. And here we are jumping into this city and looking around for the first time. So as you can see, pretty nice city and space to build as well. We can look at from above. So here you can see the cut of the city and pretty large map. Lot of space to build this. Here in Australia, this is called the Morton Island. So this is a really nice area for us to start our city. You have this big bridge, which I really like. You have this outside connection. By the way, you don't see the line going above water here because this goes underground in this area to keep the ships coming through this bay over here. Obviously, the road tool is the first thing that we'll take a look into this. And there are some really nice things in here. As you know me, I love to use the continuous road tool in here because I think this is how we make more interesting roads. Before I do that, I want to show you one thing. Your industry will pollute quite a lot. So my suggestion is the first thing you look is the wind direction, so you know where to build your industry. If we build our industry on this side, all the pollution will be carried to this side, and then if we have houses in this area, we have a lot of problems, because then it's like, hold on, everyone will be sick from the air pollution there. So this is my first suggestion. Look at the wind direction so you know where to build your industry. We'll build this industry on this area. As we have more money at the beginning, it makes things a little bit easier for us to plan and create these areas. One really nice trick that I also learned from Bad Peanut is that, as you can see, we have this node in here, and I think this transition is a little bit too short. What I can do, you can draw roads on top of each other, and I can extend, as you can see, I can do this and I can extend that node to bring this into a nice, smoother turn in there. What I'm basically doing, I'm just stretching this node in here, and we have a much nicer transition. I will remove those two power lines in there, and I'll start doing the layout for my industrial area. I feel like for industrial area, a gridded area works much better. Nothing against doing anything different, but I will zone some roads in here. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. Now, while I'm zoning this area, you see that for here, I'm using the same mechanics that I used for Cities Skylines 1 to avoid traffic, which is basically doing T interchanges and not having four-way interchanges, like for example, this one over here. In doing that, we diminish the number of ways that cars can get into this area and get them into a nicer traffic flow. I'm also making some connections to the main road in here, and I'm doing the smaller roundabout, but I'll leave some space in here to increase the size of the roundabout when we unlock it and when we have a larger traffic flow in this area. I will start with the small coal power plants in here because this will take us quite a long time, and we will replace that later on. What I'm doing here, I'm just aligning this in there. This is the output for the energy in here, and then I'll make that connection in here. Oh, I just did underground. I just noticed that. So I'll remove that. Let's make it above ground. I don't know why I've done that, but there we go. We have that connection in there, and this is the first big point to make money: exporting energy and water. We're starting with energy in here, but as soon as we start unlocking more tiles, we will go and export water as well. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is that depending on how you build your roads, the zoning will always prioritize the first road you put through. So for example, we've done those two roads. If I put another road, let's say over here, you see that it kept that zoning in there and prioritize it, and whatever you put later, it then adapts to the space that you have available. That's why you see spaces like this where you don't have zoning on this road, but you do have zoning on that road that was the first one that we've done before. So just keep that in mind as well. I will jump and start doing the zoning for the residential on this side. One thing to keep in mind is that you can use obviously the grids and create your own zoning. For low density, I would suggest you to not do the maximum size of the grid, which is basically 6 by 6, because this is kind of a waste of space for low density zoning. You need a lot of low density. The best thing for you to do if you want to go with grids, go with the minimum grid possible. You can do like this one. I would do things a little bit different though. The way I would do it, I will go with a more organic layout. If you know me, you know that I like those type of layouts, and that's how I'll build my residential area. You need a lot, so build a lot. Now, roads are a lot more flexible. As you can see, I put down quite a lot of roads. I think I've overdone a little bit in this bit here, but that's all right. I will go with that. I think this will be good for us. But I was talking about roads being flexible. And what you notice is that you can do a lot more, especially on junctions like this. As you can see, I haven't aligned that at all, and I was able to do a really, really nice junction in here. Doing some pathways to cross in here. Something that I find really, really nice is that if you do a pathway all the way through here, this is just connects in there, But if you do a pathway and actually connect to the road, it creates a crossing for you. Look how cool is that. We do have energy, we need water. What I'm starting with, this is the most efficient way to use the water pumping station. I would use just the water tower in Cities Skylines 1, but if you can see here, the upkeep is 30,000 per month with 30,000 of water output. This one is 3 times cheaper with over 3 times the water output. So there's no reason why to go for this one, except if you don't have a water source nearby like we have in here. We have some water flowing into this area, some water flowing into that area, and the water is flowing that way. So what I'll do to make my life a little bit easier in here, I'll make a road connection just to make sure that we have an easier way to put this. And by the way, another tip, buildings will snap to the roads. You can completely turn that off and put in whatever you want. So it's basically a move it built into the game, but before you actually build anything in your city, and you can manage to place it whatever you like. You can also turn the overlay by tapping on the icon, and then you can see where you're putting that. And we're using the sewage outlet as we can't do the water treatment plants in there yet. And obviously I will build this around this area. I'll snap now to the land. I think this will make my life a little bit easier. I'll put in here so there is no issue with coming into the inflow. But now, as we are very far away from the road, I need a sewage pipe, and I can just connect this to my pipe network in there. There is just one more thing missing, which is adding zoning. As I always do, I create these buffer zones in here to make sure that the pollution doesn't go through that. We'll take a look at that in a second, but I'll also add a bit more industrial in here, and slowly we will start building. As we'll need a lot more residential, I might just jump away and do a lot more space for zoning in this area, although we still have like more spacing in here. It will take us until I believe the 4th milestone to actually start making money. Don't worry about that. Each milestone you hit, you get extra money with that milestone. And I think we can see, yeah, the first one, we just need 10 experience points to hit that, by the way. But then you have 600,000 money to your bank account. So that's not a thing to worry at the moment. But let me do some more zoning in here and I'll be right back. And we hit our first milestone. So tiny village, your efforts are bearing fruit and your city has taken its first steps towards success. As you can see, pretty easy to hit the first milestone, and you get a few things in there. Money is the main thing, I think, for the beginning. You'll need that. You get 1 development point that you can unlock some new features for the city, and 3 expansion permits. Also keep in mind that some buildings are not necessary straight away. For example, you could survive without healthcare or garbage management at the moment, and I won't do garbage management at all. I'll let them bring garbage or garbage collection from other cities, and that's how we roll for the moment. Now what I'm doing here is giving enough space between these roundabouts and making sure that we do have those roundabouts even in places like where you feel, yeah, we could have a roundabout in here. It's always nice to do that. I have no problems whatsoever with that. One thing that I found really cool is, well, you have pedestrian streets straight from the bat, right? You start and you have access to that. But what you could do, you can play around with your elevation, and it seems like 3.75 elevation is potentially the best. Depending on where you are, you actually could get like a bridge like we might get here in the water. If I do a straight line, you do have a bridge in there. But if I'm on top of the land in there, what you actually get is this key, which makes your life so much easier. Like, this is really, really cool. When you have the key on both sides, you don't have zoning. When you have key just on the water side, you do still have zoning in there. What we can obviously do is start connecting all these roads here into that one, so they can actually use that key. I'll create a nicer slope in this area just to make sure that we can soften the terrain in there and that everything looks slightly better as it should. We need some medical clinic and death care. For now, I'll keep death care away. We can have hearse coming from the other cities, like this one, for example. I'm pretty sure something from another city, they just came in there and collected the dead. So that's not a big problem. The city is still very small. But I want to add, there we go, a hearse coming in. But I want to add at least a clinic around here to make sure that we start getting some service, basic service in the area. And then we'll do, again, for that, our money will go down straight away, right? But that is not a problem. We will add more residential in here. We also have the European option in here if you want, but I'm just using the American style right now. You can see that we need low skill labor in there. You can see that we are in need of educated and poorly educated people. If we look at the unemployment, as you can see, we are in need of people, so we are negative. We need more people in the city. That's why we've zoned all of that, and that's why I might start building something like this around here as well. The medium zone demand industrial has gone up, and we are on the right path. Now, services. As I mentioned, go very, very light at the beginning and don't overdo it. As you can see, I'm not even doing more than just a clinic and basic service for your city to function. If you do it this way, you spend less and less money. The more people you bring to your city, the better you will get. Now, one thing that I love in here is that we are looking very, very far away, right? And if we look close by, the amount of details that you have on those buildings, it is insane. There is so much happening in there. And we have rain now, which is really nice as well. Everywhere you look, you have so many details and so much going on that you can really, really dig into things and look at this. Like, for example, this person going there and parking, and we can tap on this person. We can add them to our follow list and see everything that's happening along the way. And I love the amount of details that we can see in here as well. Well, there we go. Milestone number 2, unlocked, a small village. So you're moving ahead very nicely. We can take a look at this just to see where we are and what we unlock. We unlock taxation. We're not looking at taxation. We're not changing that. We are making money. 1 per hour, but we are already making money. Back to service, we've unlocked education, and to attract more people and to attract more types of offices, really, we need to educate more people, and that attracts more industry as well because they can work with more advanced materials. So we do need to add at least an elementary school. I'm adding this over here. This would be extremely helpful for everyone living around this area over there. So I will come in and add a little bit more of low density in there. And as we do that, we are seeing more demand for industrial happening because of the school. So that is really good. And before we zone even more, something to keep an eye out is basically air pollution. We don't want potentially any more industry around this area, otherwise air pollution will start affecting this. We still have only commercial in here, so we might be all right there, but I have to be careful. We just have to be careful. Ground pollution as well might be a problem, so we keep an eye on this to avoid that. And obviously the noise pollution, and this is a nice buffer as we go. And oh, look at our money. I think my goal was to get money on the 4th milestone, but I think I'm getting better. With money coming in, you can start looking at some more services for your city. For example, death care. And what I want to do here, I want to build a cemetery in this area that we've done in here. And I believe, although this costs quite a lot of money, as you can see, this will be very, very good for our city. Keep in mind that all these city service buildings that you add in your city, they can be extended. So you can add extension wings, which is in the same area. You can add like playgrounds that requires extra area around your building. And we've reached milestone number 3. And we got more money and more development points and more expansion permits. And we are not even exporting water yet. So I guess you could avoid doing that altogether if you want. But keep in mind that you need more space for these buildings. As I said, you should do the specialization for industry as soon as you can. And we have the livestock farming, and this area is pretty good for farming in general. So that's exactly where we are going to build it. I think the best thing for you to do is to do at least 3 of these, and then you're sorted. If you have 3 farms or 3 specialized industries, that is all that you need, and that's all that will work there for you. So just keep that in mind. And we have a building on fire in here, and we don't have a firehouse, so that becomes quite important for us. Let's add this, and we'll do one for the police department as well. I think that'll be really helpful if we do it around here. This is starting to give you more and more freedom because you don't need to worry too much about money anymore. One of the things that I like to do is, for example, we have 12 tiles available for us now. So what I want to do is basically get all of this, and we'll have even less trouble with money. And then I'll get a water pipe in here and just make an external connection. And we should start trading and selling that water, which will help us get even more money. Let's do our second farm in here. I want to do in this area. All right, all done in there. And yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Have our first buildings in here. The more people working in there, the more we'll have. I have a feeling that we don't have enough people in the city for the job. Yeah, we need 140 people in there. So definitely more zoning is needed over here. I would do, yeah, I think I'll just build a little bit more in here. And we also need some commercial, so I'll fill this area next to the main avenue in there as we're doing. And as you can see, traffic is going pretty well. No issues at all. And this is a really nice starter city for you. What are the next steps then? And the next step, in my opinion, would be to add a second level of education. Because at the moment, they can only go to elementary school, which means that when companies that need more educated people, they won't be available in the city. For example, educated might be coming from other cities as well, or people that move into the city that are already educated. So we have an option that's still available without unlocking any of the dev points there, which is the high school, and I'll add it right here. This should be able to give us a little bit more options in there and also improve the demands that we have throughout the city. And we are at our 4th and final milestone. This is where I have to stop the video for you. I will show you around, I will talk a little bit more and recap on some of the things that we've discussed, but this will be the main city that we build today. So I just found a new button here that takes the UI out of the way. making money at the beginning is actually pretty easy. It's just a matter of catering for the demands. We now have high density demands as well. So for example, could add a small one in there and a small one in here to help with that demand. And that's all that we need. But that'll be all that will grow today, our slow speed in here. And this is our little city that we've managed to build. We have some people going to high school now. We have quite a good number of people going to elementary school. We are exporting some electricity. We are exporting some water, and that is making us money. We are in the positive, as you can see, and we didn't change anything. We didn't get a loan. We didn't change any taxes. It's all basic as the game comes, and we didn't change any of the fees or the budget for the services that we do. We haven't looked into production at all and look like what we should be doing, what we should be focusing. No, we haven't done anything like that. And we are making money, although not like a huge amount of money, but the more you build, the more you tackle the demands in here, the more money you make in your city. And that's what we want to see in there. It's always a good idea to just go a little bit closer and look at things in a different perspective as well, because the city looks a lot different when you go up close like this. You start to see people walking, people doing what they shouldn't in the traffic. Recapping what we need to work in here. So basically, we spoke about exporting. Start exporting energy. This is the easiest one. This is already available. You need energy anyway, and the power lines are usually all there in almost, I think it's not all of the maps, all the start tiles that you have, they're all available in there. Also, look at the demands and build the zones based on that, and do that quickly, and then you get out of the red range quite soon, so you won't have many problems with that. Service, don't build a lot of service straight away. Wait until you actually have a better balance of money. You don't need, and you shouldn't need to wait until you are on the green for that. Otherwise, you see that your city won't grow as much. When you can start exporting water, if you wish to, you don't need to. As you've seen, you definitely don't need to export water as well. Tackle demand, keep building based on the demand that the city is asking for. And then finally, specialized industry. Build at least 2 of those. The farming industry, the best you can do is build 3. I think when we reach the level that we just reached, we have a new option in there. You have the option for the grain and the forestry. So definitely use that in your favor, and you see a huge demand for industry coming up to the city, which will bring more income. You're settled for the future of your city, and I highly doubt you will have any problems with money again, unless you add too many services that you actually don't need at that time, or you have too many of the same service around your city. And then you start getting a lot of money, and you have more freedom to, even if you don't need to add more service and play around with your layouts and what you're doing in your city, and start detailing and all that sort of stuff. Now, I said that I had a special message before, and before I get into it, I just want to thank you all for all your kind messages, your likes, your comments, suggestions, and all your time really with me in the channel, or asking or sending messages here on Discord, on TikTok. I really, really do appreciate all that you do and all the time that you put into the game with me. So thank you very much for that. What I would want to tell you is that if you'd like to see a different approach, Joy is showing us how to put people first in planning your starting area with the power of super blocks. It's quite interesting topic, and I really can't wait to watch her video. The link for the video is in the description, is on the comments, and I'll put it on the screen as well. But I just want to thank you all for all of this, and I'll be back with the second episode of this series, and I can't wait for that. But I'll see you there. Thank you, and bye bye.